Hi there. Jeff Fox here, Love, Peace, Money, Conscious Financial Coaching. Just wanted to share a quick video kind of explaining why I'm doing this, why I'm making these videos, why I offer conscious financial coaching, and if you know me, you know how I got to this point, you know, whether you know me from high school or college or after then, just kind of an update on, you know, how I got here and why I'm doing this. So in terms of spirituality, I was raised Christian, very chill, you know, Methodist, nothing extreme. And in high school, basically started rejecting that, felt like I had been sort of brainwashed by my parents just to think that Christianity was true, and started sort of seeing some inconsistencies. And basically by the end of high school, I had totally rejected religion entirely and basically spirituality too, and thought it was completely just made up. So went to college, studied economics, and had an interest in personal finance since, you know, age like 5 or 6, seeing my dad read like the business section of the newspaper, and he had sort of taught me about saving money and compound interest and things like that. So I think I had an interest in personal finance more than the average person, especially definitely more than the average 6-year-old, which had this kind of interest in personal finance. So studied econ in college and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after graduation, but I always said, I'm studying econ, but I don't want to go into finance. So of course I ended up going into finance. Working for a financial planner for a couple of years after college was a great experience. I'd say the main things I learned then were that when you're talking with people about their personal financial situation, it's really, you're talking about their life and what's important to them and what they want their life to look like, because money's tied in with everything in life. The other thing I learned was just about all of the emotions that are involved in money, and how if you're not aware of them, emotions can sort of sabotage any financial plan. So those are the two main things I learned from that. As that was coming to a close around, I guess before it came to a close, in summer of 2017, I was randomly listening to mantra music, and I was not spiritual at all. In fact, in college, senior year, I was the treasurer of the Secular Student Alliance, which is basically just about separation of church and state. It's not officially like anti-religious or anti-spiritual, but a lot of the members are definitely very critical of religion and its effects on society and on people's thinking. So I was in this Secular Student Alliance, very kind of hardcore atheist, and didn't think that there was anything there in terms of spirituality. So anyways, I was listening to mantra music because on a podcast I heard someone talking about Ram Dass, and thought, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And then the more I was reading about Ram Dass, he kept being mentioned along with this guy Krishna Das. I was like, oh, okay, who's this Krishna Das guy? Let me look him up. And he's a mantra musician, a kirtan singer, who sings these like Sanskrit mantras. And so I was just playing them in the background to kind of, you know, chill to listen to. And it's still crazy to think about this, but I sort of had several like emotional release experiences where I was like crying, but not out of sadness, but just releasing these emotions and realizing that I had been sort of bottling up and suppressing my emotions for like 7 years at least. So I had a few of these just very powerful and sort of healing releases where I was just crying and felt great, honestly. And after one of them, it was sort of accompanied by, I mean, I basically would be called like an awakening experience, a sort of feeling like one with everything and just realizing sort of our true nature, that we are the universe. And, you know, intellectually, I probably wouldn't have been able to get there, but when you sort of feel it, and you're not on any sort of psychedelics or any sort of chemical influence, I was basically blown away and was like, holy crap, what is this? What is going on? But also my first thought after having that experience was, okay, how do I tie this in with personal finance? Because this is a huge sort of dimension of life that I didn't even know existed. And if this is true, that we're all the universe, then there's got to be, that has to relate to our, you know, money and how we interact with money in some way. So it was instantly like, okay, feeling called. Speaking of feeling called, I haven't read this entirely, just got it recently, but it seems pretty relevant. The Calling, 3 fundamental shifts to stay true, get paid, and do good. So could be interesting. I'll give you an update when I finish that. So this was, mid 2017, towards like fall of 2017, was thinking, okay, how do I sort of tie these things together? And I basically had no idea. I mean, I was maybe gonna look into financial planning, but just wasn't sure how to get started with all that. And in the meantime, the first financial planning job that I was at ended, and I can save that story for another time. But I started ACT tutoring because I frankly just needed a job immediately. And I sort of told myself, okay, while I'm tutoring, that'll cover my bills and stuff, and I can create this thing that combines spirituality and personal finance while I'm doing the tutoring. Sounds like a good plan. Didn't happen. I mean, I did a little bit. About a year later, I bought the domain lovepeacemoney.com, wrote like 2 blog posts, but still did not really have a clear vision of what I was actually gonna do. Just a feeling that there was something there. I knew there was something there, and there's huge potential, but not clear what I wanted to do. In May of 2019, I basically was pretty disillusioned with the ACT tutoring, and felt like I was a cog in this machine of like people with money paying me to help increase their kids' test scores, and then they get into a better college, and then it's not fair because not everyone can afford that, and it just kind of perpetuates these like cycles of privilege and haves and have-nots. So I told the tutoring company to not send me any more students. I'll finish out with the ones I have, and started looking for, something else. I didn't know what. I didn't know if I was going to create my own thing or get a different job. And in the summer of 2019, I had a talk with the former pastor at my church, who was now working for a financial services company. And they mostly were basically selling like life insurance and their proprietary mutual funds. And they also did fiduciary financial planning. So I figured I'll just get in and focus on the financial planning. Well, that was an okay plan, but basically there were still production goals, aka quotas, aka I had to sell insurance, and I basically didn't. Insurance is great, but I didn't like the idea of being a captive agent where I was limited to my company's products. So we came to the agreement. Basically, they let me know that this probably wasn't the right fit for me, basically because I wasn't selling any of their products. I loved meeting with people and talking about what's important to them and their goals and their vision for their life. But the way for me to get paid was pretty much, and the way for me to keep my job was to have some sort of insurance or mutual fund sale, and I just didn't believe in those products enough to sell them. So in December of 2019, or early January of actually 2020, that came to a close because I wasn't going to meet the quotas. And I realized, oh my gosh, I have this third chance to actually create and do what I want to do, which is sort of meeting people where they are and really just helping people save more is a huge sort of problem globally and definitely in this country. Just realizing that you can kind of teach people to fish, and that's where I realized that financial coaching, at least at this time, is the perfect fit for how I want to serve. I guess I'll make a video probably tomorrow about what financial coaching actually is. But that's basically how I got to where I am. So currently offering conscious financial coaching, which is really just looking at what's coming in and then being intentional with what you want to do with your money, whether that's spending it now or saving it, or other things. And as I've said before, it's something that anyone can do on their own, but most of us don't do it. So it can be super powerful just to have someone there with you. So that's my story and why I'm here. It's all, thanks to a podcast that I randomly heard about Ram Dass, and it all kind of spiraled from there. But so grateful that my sort of eyes were open to this aspect of being that I didn't know existed. Whew. So hopefully that helps you understand, if you know me, what I've been up to in the past 5 years. And if you don't, it kind of gives you a little bit of my background. I feel like my mission is to spread peace and love throughout the universe. Maybe you picked up on that with the name, Love, Peace, Money. But the more that people are intentional with their personal finances, the more that they can spread peace and love however they want to. Awesome. So I welcome any, comments. If you want to talk with me, you can schedule a time at lovepeacemoney.com. And I look forward to talking with you and continuing to create useful content. I guess this one may not be as useful as most of the content, but just want to spread this mission of being intentional with our resources and using them to spread peace and love throughout the universe. Awesome. See you later. Bye.